The three pillars of true happiness. Philosophers, scientists, and even modern happiness studies tend to agree that true, lasting happiness isn't about what we own, it's about how we live. Pillar 1. Growth, becoming the best version of yourself. One of the most fulfilling things in life is the feeling that we are growing, improving, and becoming more of who we're meant to be. Psychologists call this self-actualization, the deep satisfaction that comes from unlocking our potential. Aristotle had a similar idea. He believed that happiness, what he called eudaimonia, comes from living a life of virtue, purpose, and continuous growth. Ask yourself, am I learning something new every day? Am I challenging myself in meaningful ways? Am I developing skills that bring me joy and fulfillment? Happiness isn't about achieving some final destination. It's about the journey of becoming, of evolving into a wiser, stronger, and more compassionate person. Happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create by growing, learning, and challenging yourself. Pillar 2. Connection, the power of meaningful relationships. Think about your happiest memories. Chances are, they involve people you care about. Science confirms this. The Harvard study on adult development, the longest-running study on happiness, found that the #1 predictor of happiness isn't money, fame, or success. It's strong, meaningful relationships. Not just any relationships, but ones built on trust, love, and deep connection. But in today's world, many people feel more isolated than ever. We're always connected through technology, yet loneliness is rising. So how do we build deeper relationships? Prioritize quality over quantity. A few deep friendships are more valuable than hundreds of acquaintances. Be fully present. When you're with someone, give them your full attention. Invest in people who uplift you. Surround yourself with those who bring out the best in you. Give more than you take. Happiness isn't just about what we receive. It's about what we contribute. Happiness grows when we invest in real, meaningful connections, not just through texts or likes, but through presence and depth. Pillar 3. Purpose, finding meaning in something bigger than yourself. The final key to happiness is purpose, a sense that your life has meaning beyond just yourself. Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." This is why Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, found that those who survived the worst conditions weren't the strongest or smartest. They were the ones who had a deep sense of purpose. But what does purpose really mean? It doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing. It simply means doing work that fulfills you. Even small contributions matter. Helping others in a way that feels meaningful to you, living by values that resonate with you. A life of purpose isn't about chasing success. It's about finding meaning in the way you live each day. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually practice this in daily life? Here are science-backed habits that can instantly boost your well-being and long-term happiness. 1. Practice gratitude. Shift your focus to what you have. Gratitude is one of the most powerful happiness hacks backed by science. Studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude feel happier, have stronger relationships, and even live longer. Try this. Every morning or night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Focus on the small moments, a kind gesture, a good meal, or a conversation with a loved one. When you feel down, shift your attention to what's going right in your life. 2. Spend more time in flow. Find activities that absorb you. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discovered that one of the best ways to experience happiness is through flow, a state where you're so immersed in an activity that you lose track of time. Think about the moments when you're completely absorbed in writing, playing music, or painting. You're so engaged in a sport or game that hours pass like minutes. You feel energized, challenged, and totally present. To bring more flow into your life, do activities that engage and challenge you. Remove distractions and be fully present. Find work or hobbies that bring out your creativity. 3. Give more than you take. Help others without expecting anything in return. One of the simplest ways to increase happiness: be generous. Psychological research shows that acts of kindness, whether big or small, significantly boost happiness levels. Try this. Do something kind for someone today without expecting anything back. Give a compliment, help a friend, or donate your time. Focus on making someone else's day better. 4. Spend time in nature. Rewire your brain for calm and joy. In today's world, we spend most of our time indoors, staring at screens. But studies show that just 20 minutes in nature can lower stress and anxiety, boost happiness and creativity, help you feel more connected to life. Even a simple walk in a park can reset your mood and bring you back to the present moment. Summarizing, happiness isn't something you find one day, it's something you practice. To cultivate true lasting happiness, prioritize growth, challenge yourself, and keep learning. Nurture deep relationships. Meaningful connections bring the most joy. Live with purpose. Find meaning in your work, passions, and contributions. Practice daily habits. Gratitude, kindness, and being present make all the difference. Most importantly, remember this: happiness isn't about waiting for the perfect life. It's about making the most of the life you have right now. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with messages about what should make us happy. Social media, advertising, and even well-meaning advice from others tell us that happiness comes from success, wealth, and external validation. But despite having more technology, more entertainment, and more convenience than any previous generation, rates of anxiety, depression, and loneliness are at an all-time high. So what's going wrong? Let's take a look at some of the biggest happiness traps in modern life, and why understanding the true philosophy of happiness is more important than ever. 1. The happiness industry. Why we're chasing the wrong things. Think about the last time you scrolled through social media. Did it make you feel happier, or did it make you feel like you were missing out? We live in a time where happiness has become a product, something that's sold to us. The self-help industry, advertisements, and even social media influencers all tell us that we just need to buy the right things, achieve the right goals, or look a certain way to be happy. Ads tell us that buying a certain product will make our lives better. Social media tells us that other people are living more exciting, more successful, or more fulfilling lives than we are. Self-improvement culture tells us that we're never enough as we are. We always need to be better, faster, richer, more productive. The problem? Happiness doesn't come from any of these things. The more we chase happiness through external achievements, the more we feel like we're falling behind. It becomes a treadmill, always running, never arriving. Ancient philosophers and modern psychologists agree. True happiness doesn't come from chasing external validation. It comes from within. 2. The comparison trap. Why we feel like we're not enough. One of the biggest obstacles to happiness today is comparison. In the past, we could only compare ourselves to people in our immediate circle, friends, neighbors, or coworkers. Now, we're comparing ourselves to millions of people worldwide, many of whom are only showing the highlight reels of their lives. Someone is traveling the world while we're stuck at work. Someone is starting a successful business while we're figuring out our next step. Someone is in a perfect-looking relationship while we're dealing with life's challenges. But here's the truth: comparison steals joy. Ancient wisdom, especially from Stoic philosophy and Buddhism, teaches us that happiness comes from focusing on our own journey, not on what others are doing. Instead of asking, how do I measure up to other people? Ask, am I growing as a person? Am I living in alignment with my values? Am I appreciating the life I have right now? The moment we shift our focus from what we don't have to what we do have, our happiness naturally increases. 3. Why we're more disconnected than ever. Despite being always connected, we live in a time of constant connection. We can message anyone, anywhere, at any time. But despite this, rates of loneliness are rising. Studies show that people today have fewer close friendships than previous generations. Loneliness is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Social media use is linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression. Why? because we're replacing deep, meaningful relationships with surface-level interactions. Happiness isn't about how many followers we have or how many people like our posts. It's about the depth of our real-life connections. Instead of spending more time online, invest time in real relationships. Call a friend instead of just liking their post. Have deep, meaningful conversations instead of endless small talk. The key to happiness isn't more connection, it's better connection. 4. Why finding meaning is more important than ever. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, having a sense of purpose gives us direction. Studies show that people with a strong sense of meaning and purpose tend to be happier in the long run, cope better with challenges and setbacks, feel more motivated and fulfilled. This is where the teachings of Aristotle, Viktor Frankl, and modern psychology come together. Aristotle taught that happiness, eudaimonia, comes from living a life of virtue and purpose. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, found that people who had a strong reason to live, even in the worst conditions, were more likely to survive and rebuild their lives. Modern studies confirm that people who pursue meaning, rather than just pleasure, report higher overall life satisfaction. Happiness isn't just about feeling good, it's about doing something meaningful. Ask yourself, what excites me? What do I love learning about? How can I contribute to something bigger than myself? When we shift from chasing happiness to building a meaningful life, happiness becomes a natural byproduct. The key takeaway: redefining happiness in the modern world. So why does all of this matter? Because we're at a crossroads. We can keep chasing happiness the way society tells us to, through success, material wealth, and external validation, and wonder why we still feel empty. Or we can listen to the wisdom of philosophy and psychology and realize that happiness comes from growth, connection, and purpose, not from possessions or status. Gratitude and presence make us happier right now, not someday in the future. Focusing on what we can control frees us from anxiety and frustration. The world constantly tells us that we need more, that we should be doing more, and that we should be further ahead. But real happiness comes when we stop chasing, stop comparing, and start truly living. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one small change you can make today to cultivate more happiness in your life? Is it practicing gratitude? Reaching out to a loved one?
You say that I'm psychotic,